so here we are on perhaps the final video on this game. We'll see. I'm not sure how quickly it's gonna all fall. It looks like things are getting close to each other, and I think there's gonna be a very rapid point at which people kind of control the end. Might be jockeying for position. It could end up more extended than it appears just from the track layouts. Remember, once every company is connected to two other companies, it's over though. Now, here's our random setup. Who's been nailed? Yellow, our leading guy. He had a big bonus last time, ran him to the lead. He's not going to get a turn this time. Green, though, is in the play. Blue got double play, and the other two. This is pretty much, what you'd kind of an expected result in this, as opposed to, say, the first turn, where you could end up maybe in a pretty good position. I don't know. Everybody's starting out sort of even at that point. You don't expect any kind of catch-up there. And I'm not sure even that this is really a catch-up mechanism. This is just a weird randomizing mechanism. It can be used for catch-up, but I'm not convinced that's the only thing it can be used for. I think you can be winning this game and be low on that track without any problem. And that may be one of the goals, is to kind of sandbag your score so that it doesn't interfere with your chances of winning. Okay, let's see what we got. And honestly, I really like it because there's a lot of tension in it. I know it drives some people crazy. I see comments. I watched both Joel and Tom Vassal's reviews on this game, and this is one of the things they both hammered. Vassal's review is actually surprisingly good. I found myself much more in agreement with him than I usually am in at least. Well, it doesn't mean it's surprisingly good. It's surprisingly in line with my own thoughts about the game. But I think it's because he was able to see negatives in it, and he doesn't usually see too many negatives in games that I'm used to. Or at least not relevant ones. Here, I think he nailed the relevant negatives down. Okay, let's take a look at what White wants to do. White needs some cash. Now, the main thing they don't want is to see Yellow get a run before everyone else. So they don't necessarily need to trigger a cash run right away. However, they're set up for the double run. The Yellow train has no cash. Can I do something with the Red company? It'd be kind of nice to double my red income while nobody else has any. It's not like I have the cash to buy one. How about that? Well, what's Red's special? Red's special is... Yeah, Red's special is something I didn't take into account last time. When I place in a non-city, I get it for free. Okay, let us trigger a red then. We want to get... Oh, we have no cash. Son of a bitch. That's what we can't do. So we can't build with red, so we're building with purple. Purple's only allowed to spend 5. This will cost me 4 to get into. This will cost me 3 to get into. Yellow has no cash. I'm going to take my bet that... who's running? Yellow is not run by Yellow. That's orange, not yellow. I really ought to mark up these certificates because they are totally unplayable as they are. I don't want the double cash run yet. I am going to spend... I hope I don't screw up and lose my money ability here. But I am going to spend $3 to get into Munster. Do I want to spend 2 more to go here? Yeah. That blocks off Yellow. Makes them take the more expensive route. There I've spent $5 and I haven't connected Yellow up yet. To Yellow, so I'm not going to get a dividend yet, but I think that's for my best play. Somebody else may throw a dividend in play. Speaking of somebody else, we got Green here. Green's got very little money in the blue track, not enough to get in anywhere unless they have some deal. They do. They could get in here for $3, which is what they're holding. That would up their value. And I have 2 shares of that, so that is very appealing. And the green train, I only have $3 there as well. I have no money that I could do an effective. I can't do an effective stock release of any kind. So I'm not going to be able. I could spend $3 and get into there, increase my green track. No, I'm not green. I'm black. Okay, so I could spend a lot of track up in black, but someone else owns black, so I'm less interested in that. I really had a money loser on that as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to spend $3 from the blue train and waste my whole action there. And oh shit, I forgot to add to purple. Purple's at 3 now, which means white and red have gone up. And now blue just increased by 1, which means green goes up by 2. This is not necessarily an advantage to be high on here, but I want to be able to pull in a lot of cash, and I think things are going to fall soon, in the sense that there are going to be dividends soon. Now, blue gets a double turn. What can I do with a double turn? First of all, I have the yellow trains, and they have no cash on them. I have no money, so I'm not getting cash into them. I have the brown trains. They have no money on them. I have no cash. I could only get a maximum, perhaps, of $2. Probably 1. Yeah, looks like I could end up selling a share that would get me $1 into it. Yeah, this guy could throw more money in if he so desired, but why would he want to? He can buy cheap shares for almost nothing and get to ride on everybody else's rails for free. And no, I don't want to do that. So I am passing twice. Nothing I can do. What a horrible situation to be in, isn't it? Is that right? Yellow? Yeah. Wow. And now red, and I mean, it's not like these are limited commodities. I could well get multiple turns next time too, or whatever. I'm very likely to, because I'm doing so poorly. So it's not like I'm terribly losing anything, but boy, that kind of feels like it sucks. Green and purple are his runs. Well, purple, I could do the hookup, get myself some cash. That sounds appealing. Green, there's not a lot I could do. I could increase the value of the green track by a little bit. Which one? I think the chances are that purple is going to be making that run anyway, so I will improve my green track. By squeezing it into here for another $1. Wait a minute, somebody gets a double track. It's not green. Oh, red, right? Orange? Yellow? Yellow is the bonus one. Are they set correctly for money? $1, $2, $3. Yeah. Okay, I just upped green. That goes up here. And the two people who have green track are red and yellow. This is kind of a shame because I'm putting myself ahead. That means, I'm going to get less discs. Well, I created more discs for other people. But that's okay. I also really want cash, right? I guess. I don't know. It's not blatantly obvious about anything in this game. So, we've got our little discs to put out. And it's not like I don't have an opportunity to get a lot of discs. It's just unlikely. We know blue's not going to be able to use their discs if they get them early. That's kind of cool. White and red are glaring at each other across the table. Remember white choosing not to hook up purple? They built some red track instead or something. Well, I don't know what the hell they did. Oh no, they built their purple up this way. Yeah, there's no red money. And, hey, you could have hooked it up. Well, there was no yellow playing. Red also has purple shares, and they chose on the last action to improve green, something I'm not even sure was a great move. But that gave yellow a chance to slip in there. And yellow slips in and they say, I got a $1 that says I can buy whatever I like, because only one person has money still. And oh boy, was that a screw up. They had more than one chip in there. So it was probably too much of a risk. So what is our best railroad? Well, the best one's green, but I can't buy green because there's 2 greens that have been sold, and there's other companies that only have 1. So let's look at the things that have been. Red. Red is not a bad company at all. It's sitting here with $7 shareholding, and I think only 1 share is gone. Do I want to buy that for $1, or am I willing to pay more? Hey, I don't want to waste my money. I can always use my money later. Let's buy a share of that. Boy, that's a dicky move. And it's again because only 1 person other than them has any money, and it's only $1. Over to white, and white's pissed. Well, what can white do? They're only getting 1 action, and sort of if they trigger the big action, the connection in the dividend payout, that means red will get an opportunity maybe to be the first buyer and attempt to improve one of these rails. And it could well be this, the purple rail, or it could maybe be their green rail. The advantage of putting some money in the purple rail, of course, is now 2 of us are sharing purple. We're not in the lead, but that creates some imbalance. You can only have, you're not equally sharing a company in this game. Some of the games allow you to have an equal number of shares. This one looks very unlikely for that to be the case unless it's split 3 ways, in which case probably it's not very interesting for you to improve anyway. So, do I want to make the link up or do I not? I've got to keep $3 to make that link up, but I could keep improving the rail to make us more money. Blue is not going to do anything in that interim turn. This way I take away red's chance of, not really, of triggering a stock round, but that's not that big a deal. I'm interested in leaving some of this space open for the red company to buy. I will spend 3 and build here, and I got 2 more bucks. I could start swinging over, or I could get close to these. I'm going to start the swinging over. Could actually spend an extra $1 and move into here, leaving more room for red if need be. But then I can't play 2 tracks, so I'm actually not closer. Let's see, 3, 6, 2, 4, 6. It costs about the same. Yeah, I'm going to spend the extra $1, not build as much track, and go into bluff. What is that? Bielefeld. Bielefeld? I don't know. Anyway, that's white's turn. Blue, they got nothing. They can't put a share up for any reason. You know, they could put a share up to screw people over if they really wanted to, but that would still just help yellow. So we'll pass, right? Yellow railway, brown railway, both out of cash. Red gets to go. Red's not going to make the same mistake that they did last time. I feel kind of stupid with this, but I got to spend $4 to go here into ham. And oh shit, I forgot to do my increases. Purple has gone up 1 and another 1, and that raises both red and white by 2. The reason they went up 2 is 1 for white's turn as well. Now we have a dividend payout. Hey, first time we've seen one of these, right? Okay. Let's do purple's dividends first. Let's make sure I'm right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So that's going to be 5 extra bucks for those people. I will give them each their $5 bonus for holding a purple share. And now you just pay out what's here. I have to make a quick check. Hey, does green hook up? But other than that, that's all that happens. So it's 14 bucks for the green player. And find paper money a little easier than these stacks, but of course I could have a counter tray with that crap in it. The hundreds are a little big for that. Red and yellow each get 13. This shit's worse than paper, I'll tell you. And definitely worse than, or definitely better than chips, poker chips. White only gets 12. And blue gets a lousy $6. And now blue's up. And they've got no more money in their companies. They can't increase and benefit their companies at this point. They kind of have to put a share out. What do they want to put a share out for? This can't be right. I had to have the money wrong. I got this at 6. These guys are at 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got them only at 3. Jesus, I can't keep track of the money. I'm going to recount everything and come back. All kinds of shit was screwed up. I think everybody was below the amount of money they were due. So I've kind of assigned more money to people. Now, blue has a reasonable amount of money. I may or may not want to spend that money on myself. If I do, I think it's my yellow railroad I want to throw some cash into. The brown one, well, the brown one's capable of making a jump, actually. Yellow is not. So getting money into brown seems valuable. Brown's already at $5. I'm going to open them up with an $8 bid on the second brown share. We only have a few extra shares that are left, yellow, orange, and brown. So I want to get some cash in there so I have some operating ability at least. And I have the ability to make another run that gets doubled, like the purple one did. Purple at least got the right value for them. Okay, what about other people? How do they feel about this? Well, we go counterclockwise always. Let's not get confused by that. What does this guy want to do with his cash? Because there's an $8 bid from blue. Put that there, I guess. Is this worth $8? It produces 5. It's going to produce 10 on its next run. It seems like a good buy. But how does that compare to, say, other things that are available? Orange here is making butt kiss, but it's not far. Remember, it's the guy who gets the double income, right? No, that's someone else. Yellow. Okay. So orange might be able to shoot up into this mid-range 5 value and get a double run. But it's not going to be as valuable as brown. Brown's going to be gaining $3 as well as getting a double run off this money. So that's valuable to brown. So I think brown is worth more. How much more, I don't know. Yellow. Yellow is doing pretty crappy and doesn't look like it has a lot of easy expansion capabilities. A few more bucks isn't going to get us to Berlin, or it might get us down here, right? This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $11. That would get us another 3, right? No, well, another $3 added in instead of the 2 because we've doubled the 2. But we'd lose the doubled 1. So that doesn't sound terribly interesting. So this is the only one that really intrigues me. But there are people with a lot of money who can buy that brown share. Then, of course, there's the question of, okay, well, what if it's not one of the next few shares? What if I hold my money and go for a later share? Is that worthwhile? That has certain value. There's no question. So, for example, we've got things like this green at 8, which is really, really valuable. And I'd love to get another one of them. But that is on its last share. These last 3 shares would have to sell out. And this is the best of the last 3 shares. How much do I think it's worth? Well, again, I have to resort to the die to make my analysis here, just like I do in other games. I say it's worth 3 more bucks, puts it up to 8. It's going to make about $16 on the next run. But I don't think it's worth that much. I do think, however, it's worth more than 8. I'm just going to bid the 9. That puts us over to green. Green's in largely the same shape. They'll go up to the 10. Will they go higher? No. Yellow. Yellow would love to get more shares. Yeah, they're kind of refusing. To me, that seems like a bad idea. I'm going to make them take another roll. Nope, they're passing. They think that $10 is about what it's worth. Okay. White. White is looking at... I got enough cash to buy this at 11 if I want it. Now, the difference here, what did I put up for sale? This is brown. The thing is, I might want a share of something I already have, like red or purple. But I'm not going to have the opportunity to buy one of those shares for a while. So this may be the best. I'll go up to 11. Will I go higher than that? No. And now we've zipped around. Blue is out of the game. Red at 9 could go up to 12. Interested? Yeah. I'm going to go up to a 13 bid, actually. I do think it's worth about that range. That's why I'm hesitant to go. Yeah, white's gonna shoot it up to 14. Oops. What about green? This is $15 is green's money. They're probably only going to get one share off this. Do they want to drop the whole load on it? No, they don't. They're going to pass on this. That gives one more chance. Red, you could go up to 15, see if you want to push it. Nah. So white is going to buy it for $14. And this is, Jesus, I can't remember, a brown share. We're worried a lot less about what it can do with its money at this point as whether or not we get the share. Why? Mainly because we're counting on this build for the most part. Anything that comes before, after that, whatever, is all just gravy. And in a sense, blue has done something they liked. They got someone to buy into their brown company for, I think, more money than they put in it initially. And that feels kind of good. Especially when you compare to what yellow has done to some of the companies in the game. Now, is yellow's deal good for yellow? Probably. But it's really horrible for the people who are holding these companies. In particular, what black and red got really hosed in terms of money that they could have made off those shares being basically evaporated off of what looks like a cheap deal. Now, white just got that brown, so they get $5 more on here. And remember, there's a lot of money sitting in there in kind of reserve, hidden in a way that doesn't appear on the track. And now we select our pips. And I don't know, yellow maybe should have been further ahead last time. I'm not going to worry about things like that. I feel like this mechanism for the game of having to constantly count everything is going to be a regular problem in games of it. You may have anal people who are really capable of keeping track of all of these things, keeping them moving, but I know every group that that I've been involved in, this shit would get confused all the time in these tracks. There's just too many layers of things that have to be kept track of at the same time. This is a game that I think would play better on a computer, honestly, to keep track of all this little movement of the cubes and everything. It's fine when you have a spreadsheet to handle stuff like that, you know, even a paper and pencil spreadsheet. But when you gotta start doing it all on the board, and there's all kind of tracks related to other tracks, and things change on them, man, that's where mistakes come up. And you saw me make them. I bet you'll see a lot of people make that kind of mistakes. Okay, and here we are with the new setup on turns. You can see everyone except Blue got a turn. Now Blue's the guy who had 5 chips in there. And this is some of what people kind of complain about. There's a lot of luck in terms of the draws. It could go really against you. And I guess that's something that, you know, maybe Winsome style players, 18xx style players, are going to have some problem with sometime. But to me, it's part of the charm of the game. And this is actually, you know, I grump about some things with the interface. Somebody put it as in their comment, the user interface for this sucks. Yeah, it does. The color combinations, for the stock shares is shitty. And I might mark some of these up just to distinguish. And also all the coping with the constant counting updates. There's not a lot of counting in the game, but it's very easy, for me at least, not to be keeping track of all that counting when it's happening, for whatever reason, because it's a fairly light game in terms of the mechanical complexity outside of keeping that up to date, which in and of itself really isn't that hard. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with it. Okay, so we got green with the first play, and what are they holding? There are still a couple of stocks available. There's a decent amount of money available, but I probably don't have enough cash at this point to buy something terribly valuable. On the bright side, some of the stuff that's available isn't terribly valuable. Let's take a look at what we have. Our Blue company can't move at all. This is, damned if I can tell, I think the Black company shared between these two, which I could make some growth with. I could put a bid in on something, but I don't think I'm likely to get it, so I don't really want to do that. So Black has the ability to build big. Let's take advantage of that for now. 2, 4, 7. And that's all I can buy. I got a buck left over because I kind of overbid someone on that. And that's going to raise Black up to a 4. Note I only built 3 track, so I didn't really get their bonus, and both yellow and green go up a buck, which doesn't really hurt me there. Doesn't really hurt anyone. Such a small increase. Let's go over and look at red, who's got the next option. They have green and purple that they can increase. Now, green has no money because some bastard bought it for nothing, basically. And purple, I'm wondering why there isn't a buck in there, but I guess green maybe found a little extra money, had a little extra money that they were able to spend, which got them in here. That extra buck helped them, actually. Purple has enough money to build something. Not enough to connect me anywhere. Enough to increase my value. Alternatively, I have a fair-sized wad of money. Do I want to buy into another company? Again, that's only orange, which has some growth potential, and yellow, which, well, if I spend a lot of money, would. What are their advantages? Yellow is the guy who wants to get somewhere and to make money, and the other option is orange, who is kind of slowed a little bit. But I could get into Berlin fairly easily with money. There is money. Looks like it's a double run setup. You know, I think that's actually my best option, is to put a bid on an orange. Unless, see, yellow might get something otherwise. Now, yellow has an orange certificate, not a yellow certificate. I have to do that every time. How much is this worth? Remembering all the special abilities is not easy. There's no cards for the companies that you know, each player would have or anything like that. That's yellow. Orange is no more than 2 locos. Well, so the question is, which am I going to gain more off of? Adding to purple, adding 1 to its revenue stream, or buying myself an orange, and will I be able to get the orange? Those are the big questions. What do I think orange is worth? Orange looks like it's going to be worth 4, call it 8. I think it's probably worth a $10 bid. Let's see if I want to make that. I don't. Do I want to take a shot with the $8 bid? I don't. If I'm not going to take the bids, well, I'm going to build myself some purple. Basically, my thought here is I'm not going to get orange for a value that I think I want it for. I spent $3. I don't see any particular reason that I want purple to link up with red deeper, so I'm actually pushing down. Now I got to be careful. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to be able to get to Berlin with purple. But we knew that with the density there. I have just raised the value of purple, and people who own it, which is white and red, each go up in value. And that's the mechanical aspect that I find difficult to remember. Well, next time I'm buying putting a share up, I guess. Now we're on yellow. Jeez. Yellow would love to see more money in orange, maybe. On the other hand, I'm the only person holding orange, and I'm the person holding the most shares, and I think I can get the most out of simply running orange rather than putting it up for bid. So, since it can only put 2 up anyway, 2, 3, 4. Again, that's not clear to me from the rules that Berlin is cheaper or whether it's the same cost as regular planes. Okay, we just had a link, but we also increased orange's value by 3, which means I'm the only person with orange, and now we're going to hand out bunches of money. I'm going to assume my numbers are correct. It may be a bad assumption, which means I just am going to end up personally getting double orange, so I get an extra $5 for that, and then everybody's going to get the cash as allocated on the chart. And white. White has purple and red, neither of which have enough money to do anything. And I think a share of brown, which has a decent amount of cash. I could also put something up for bid. But again, there's no huge guarantee that a purchase for red is going to give me anything good. My positioning is better than blue's, so as far as I'm concerned, hooking brown up seems like a good move if I can do it. And there's a decent amount of money for brown here. So, let's look at brown's ability. Never pays additional costs for other tracks. Wow, that's great. So, 1, 2, 3. Let's up this by 3. Let's not do that yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I pay my cash. I just went up by 4. And that means both white and blue go up by 4. And we have a payout with brown giving a double payout with an extra $9. And then again, I'll hand these suckers out. The problem at this point in the game is that things start becoming kind of calculable in terms of what the stock shares may be worth. Now, you can, it's an estimated thing, but there's not as much opportunity cost involved here as there is at the early part of the game. At this point in the game, most of the people have at least a $25 coin sitting there. That's enough to buy, you know, at the old prices, 2 or 3 shares easily. But at this point, you don't want to spend a big coin to get a share that's maybe going to run a couple of times for 20 bucks. Like, you want to make sure you make money off of whatever you purchase. And you also want to make sure that you make money in comparison to any other opportunities you take. Now, of course, if you have shares in something, there's a good reason to invest a decent amount of cash in that, because you might be making your current shares more valuable. But you got to worry about who's riding along with you in those circumstances. Right now we're on the red player, and green and purple are both out. The double run from orange here is gone, and I'm not sure I want to help the guy who has orange. On the other hand, I'm not sure I want to let him just buy oranges, but the point is I'd be helping him by throwing more money into orange. So my other choice is yellow. Yellow is held by the weakest player. In some sense, yellow doesn't look like a great investment. Orange is a better investment. But I don't have to be the guy who buys this investment. I'm going to put a yellow share up for sale and try to figure out what it's worth. I'll let somebody else waste their turn on the orange share, and I may be the guy who buys it. I may value it a little more than everyone else. But right now, I don't know how many more payouts there are going to be, right? But I can make some guesses. 1 this way, 2, 3, in one of these directions maybe, 4, and a 5th one. Well, this guy's connected to 2, isn't he? Yeah. So I'm looking at maybe 3 or 4 more payouts, which means whatever I pay, you know, like an orange might be worth 15 bucks, but I don't know how much. It almost certainly is, but I don't know how much more than that it is worth. You know, I don't want to pay more than it ends up being worth, simply because I don't want to lose money on any choice that I make ever. So, what do we say is a good setting value for yellow? I'd like to get it at the best price that I can possibly. I'd like to make the bid that is the perfect bid, that everybody else thinks, you know, it's worth, and nobody wants to go over, right? But there's no way that I can really understand how much I'm going to be able to do with it. At this point, it's only worth 3, let's say about 9 or 10 bucks. But if it has 9 or 10 bucks in its load, it quickly goes up by, say, 3 bucks times 3. It actually pretty much doubles in value. If it could get to a 2-point location, that increases by a little bit more. If it could get all the way to Berlin, but I don't think it can. If it starts working its way here, somebody may cut it off. So that seems pretty unlikely. So I'm not looking at a very big price here. I'm going to start at 10 and then kind of see where we go from there. Down to 9, down to 8. I don't know if I want to bid on it. Let me see if I want to bid on orange instead. Yeah, I'm going to go for orange instead. This is just you know, my bids weren't coming out in value with it. So let's see what our orange bid would be. Like I said, it's got a 5. It's going to have an influx of cash. I don't like this because it's helping him. I wouldn't do it normally. But orange can very quickly get Dresden. We might be able to get a second run getting down to Plauen here. So, you know, an extra value off of it that maybe yellow wouldn't be getting. So right now my value is 5, say 8. 8 times 3 is getting up into the 20s. Let's see about a 20 bid. 19, jeez, 18, 17. All right, I'm going to open up with 16. And this is really a matter of, let me take another shot at him at 6. All right, I'll open this up at 16. That's a lot of money. That just made his share not more valuable because of the money that's being invested directly. It doesn't shoot the stock value up, but it gives it a lot of building opportunities. And, you know, but it was bound to happen. So now the question is, how does blue feel about it? Blue doesn't want to pay. White, yellow. Yellow goes to 17, 18. Yellow's going to go up to 18 on it. And, you know, these are much better games opposed to make this kind of decision. What about green? 19, 20. Green will go up to that 20 that I feel like is kind of close to the fair value. And now we come back to red. Is red willing to jump the gun there? Now red is going to withdraw their bid. Yellow is going to withdraw their bid. So green is going to get this for 20 bucks. And that is a share of the orange company. That just increased his value by $5. Just buying a share does that to you. And that was red's turn. And now we can see our ordering, and we'll throw a lot of chips in the bag and see what happens next. Some subtlety even as to what to offer up here. So for example, green just got the $5 increase there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red would have gotten that, but had they picked the yellow, they would only get 3, which I think puts them at the same place. No, green would have been still behind them. So yeah, red would have gotten an increase and less discs had they bought that. So that has to be worked in too, is the, well, you know, what kind of positioning here do you want to deal with? There's a lot of different little pieces here to play with. In so much as this is, you know, a game rather than any kind of simulation, there's some very, very intricate little connections in this sucker. Here, this is our new setup. Green gets 2 turns. Green's not very far behind at all, but they're in the middle of the pack, so that's not a terribly unlikely thing. And yellow loses their turn. What's up with green? Green's got a decent amount of money, a decent amount of shares. They're the ones who just picked up a share. Huh. They still have good money left. What do they want to do? Well, blue and I believe black are their colors. They can't play either of those. Do they want to play any orange? They would rather not. What they kind of want to do is get the damn blue to play out, the yellow to sell out so they can buy a blue. They want to get a blue sold so that they can start making money. That's their biggest money maker. Everything else they're kind of tagging along with yellow on. But that yellow share, putting that up to try to free things up so that blue, which is not bad, is available, maybe isn't the best thing. Now, I don't want to sell out my oranges. And I don't have an easy way to get anywhere with orange. I don't want to screw orange. You see, the thing is, yeah, I have my blues. Those are cool. And my orange and black are both shared with yellow. And I don't really want to mess that up. You know, I've put an investment into those oranges with an expectation they'll make a certain amount of money. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that I need to do the best thing I can with them. I'm allowed 2 locomotives. I see a purchase going into here being possible and kind of useful. I really want to run them into blue because that would take away blue's ability to do a link up. I think that's what we'll do. Only allowed 2 locos. And we're kind of using up orange's track here, getting some value. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, $6. And I'll get 20 back. And we didn't trigger anything there. But we did add 2 to orange, and that adds 2 to green and yellow. And one problem with this is it boosts my green value above the white value, right? But it's hard to balance all the competing ideas at once. Now we're on red. Red is holding green, which, like some of these other choices, doesn't have any money and I can't really play with. And the same issue with purple. I'm left with a no choice but to either pass or issue a yellow stock. I'm going to issue the yellow and see where we get with that. Like I said, the valuation on the yellow is probably about 10. I don't think that's going anywhere. Let's see. I'm willing to actually open up with an 11. And I mean, these randomizing on the bids, to some extent, I may not be seeing the value, and I may fall into it, as it were. Let's see about blue. Is he interested in 12? No. White. White will go to 12, but no higher. Yellow. Part of the point is saving cash, but that becomes less of an important factor. I could buy this yellow share here for a decent amount of money, and it probably wouldn't hurt me as long as I make money off of it when I've got these stacks of money. But we'll see. We're not quite at the point where everything is precisely worth $1 more than it makes, right? There's going to be a point where that's the case. Of course, knowing what it's going to make is hard to do. And green's going to hold off. Is red willing to go to 13? No. So we're going to let white buy this share at 12 bucks. And that opens up a lot of certificates, so we may start seeing a lot of things go up for market at this point. Can blue help themselves? Because, they can poach things that other people are going for. They have brown, which has a pile of cash on it. Is unlikely to get close to anything but black. And they have yellow. Oh, jeez. Okay, he just bought a yellow. Yellow should have some money on it. I just threw, Jesus, I don't know how much, what was it, 12 bucks into yellow? I think that sounds about right. Hard to remember the actions in the game. I feel really screwed in comparison to white, though, in terms of how much I make. Now, wait a minute. Did I gotta recalculate everybody because I think I counted this as yellow. Apparently not. I apparently just didn't up white. They should be up to there, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. That puts us over to blue trying to choose what to do. Do they want to lay some yellow track with the cash they have? And hopefully I didn't throw that money into orange or something. I mean, I can't tell. Now, if yellow does not have a lot of cash available. I got a decent amount of play. It doesn't matter too much if I pass red here. That loses me a token, but 12 bucks. These guys are worth 5 each. And they're not getting me to a 2-point area, particularly. There's a 2-point area down here, but that's kind of hard to reach. And I guess another one here I'm having trouble seeing. There's one, a 3-pointer up here. Could I get there? I don't know. 3, 4, 5, 6. Not on this money. 7, 8, 9. I think that's the best I can kind of do. Yeah, I'll spend that. 9 bucks. and I'll get 2 more bucks in yellow. And that doesn't grow anything. Well, it does. It grows blue and white, and now white's in the lead. And I hope I'm not cheating with them. I don't know what they're doing with all this money. They just bought a couple of things, I think. I don't know. Ah, no, green bought the orange, so. Okay. So that means white is next up, right? Now, all the shares have been sold. I don't have much money in yellow. If I put a big bid on yellow, I could probably get it, and I could make more money with them. This is always the case with these. Likewise, some of these other companies I could improve by throwing more money into them. Alternatively, though, I'm sharing brown with blue here. If I improve that, I'd improve my value. It's not like I'm gonna be able to time myself so that I fall behind green, I don't think. And I can always put bids on whatever anybody else puts up. Of course, I don't have the control over what's put up. I might want to get yellow in play so I can run for up there, or something along that line. Another factor is running for this green. What's green gonna play? Green's not gonna play a green tile. That much I know. So I could get a double run off yellow. So selling the yellow share might be very worthwhile to me, even if I don't get it. At least in terms of putting me ahead of 2 or 3 other players. Maybe all 4 if I get it. Alternatively, what can I do? I could sell other shares that are useful. Purple doesn't look like it's going to be tremendously valuable. It's got the build restrictions. The only thing it could do is it could jump in and get the jump on the red run. That looks kind of appealing. Likewise, yellow could get the jump on the green run. Who would I be helping in each case? Well, with purple, I'd be helping this guy. With yellow, I'd be helping the last place guy. Is there a share that I could build with? I could build with brown. He's already connected to orange, so that's not going to help. It would just be increasing value, which I'm not terribly interested in doing at this moment. So I think releasing a yellow share again is worthwhile. Now that yellow share, does it become more valuable? Yeah, kinda. Because right now yellow's worth 5, but it looks like I'm going to have a shot at 1, maybe 2 double runs, and some other things. So I'm going to set its initial valuation at, say, 12. I'm not going to run you through the randomizer. I don't think there's anything valuable in insight about how I do that, except how I cope with situations in a solitaire game where I can't really determine bidding values. I guess that kind of helped white. Blue ended up spending 17 bucks on that yellow share. Everybody kind of put a little bit more valuation to it all at once. So there's now a lot of cash sitting there, and it is more valuable. And it's kind of important that blue and white, the people who hold it, are the most interested in boosting it a little bit. Blue's still got enough money. They think they can get another certificate. They're happy with that, I guess. And they didn't clear themselves too far up with that. So that puts us on the last thing of green. No blue. I think he's got black, and he doesn't have any. Orange. He's got a pile of orange, but he's helping the wrong person with that. What I really want to do is get a bunch of blue money in play. So we're going to open that up with a deal, with a run. Now blue and orange are kind of in a competition where it's hard to tell who's going to jump ahead and get the first move, right? One of the orange stockholders, though, isn't interested in seeing orange get that. He'd much rather see blue get that. Whereas this guy, orange may not be his best choice of moves either. Hard to tell. So that blue might be considered fairly valuable. It's sitting at 6 right now. Depending on the amount of money put in it, it's going to make a decent extra run, probably into another couple of cities here a couple of times. So we're looking at maybe $8 over twice. What's its special? It's a little cheaper to build, so it can actually make more off its money. It's not going to make it up to Berlin, but it may be able to win races jumping into, yellow or red or something like that. How close are we to the end? Red seems to be sort of the furthest from connection. They're not connected to purple, and they're kind of far from everyone else. And of course black. And once all the shares sell out, we might be able to prove that black won't be able to connect, at which point the game would be over, even if other connections haven't been made. That's going to be hard to prove, though. Might take a lot of effort. All right, so let's see. I don't know what the valuation of blue is. I'm looking at least $12 on the next run, but to him it might be worth more than to anyone else. 2 shares of blue, he made an opening bid of $16, and that just scared everybody away. He wants to make sure it gets a good deal of money in it. That adds 6 to green, which puts him up tied for the lead. Closes this out, and, well, I'll take care of the disc selection thing. Okay. Looks like we're getting to the bottom of this video, actually. Which kind of confuses me. Here's our new color list. We can see white didn't get on this time, which is fair. They're one of the top runners. Blue got a double turn again. This brings up another interesting factor with this game. Because of the turn order mechanism. If you can figure out kind of to the dollar what something's likely to be worth, and you bid a couple dollars less, you might be better off not buying it and keeping cash. Cash counts towards victory, but it doesn't show up on here. So it's kind of hidden money that doesn't hurt you in the catch-up mechanism. Just an interesting factor. This guy's sitting on 4 shares, while this guy's gotten himself up to 5. Conceivably, he's going to be making more cash off of that. But it might be desirable to hold on to a lesser position and a bunch of cash and not suffer here. Just try to keep yourself maybe in 3rd place with purchases. We'll see if he does that. I'm not going to go out of my way to try to do that. Now we're on blue. Blue loves yellow. And he got the draw. Yellow is flush with cash. It's time to make some bonuses here. And this is kind of what he was hoping for in his play. So, yellow's special ability is twice the highest urban. I can't get quite up here. And is that important? Yes, that's very important to me. The question is it more important for me? I can get into Berlin perhaps. Yeah, this is better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 gets me into Berlin, or into near Berlin. I've just made a connection here. I've added only $1 and I'm going to get that double run. $1 to the yellow block, which adds 1 for white and 2 for blue. And now we have the payouts, but it's a double payout for yellow, which means blue's going to get an extra $12 and white's going to get an extra 6. Wants to take their turn to trigger the orange build. Orange is down here, so that they can beat out blue, because the person they're most worried about is the guy with 5 shares. Well, the best way to hurt them is to take away the double run that blue's going to get coming very shortly, at least in my view. Orange is only allowed 2 choo-choos to play. So I'm going to strike down this way, and we'll see what we can get. We're almost out of chews, so we got enough money to get our way here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gives me $2 back. That's going to trigger another profit taking, and I'm in the range with everyone else. I'm sharing the orange payoff with green, who is the guy I'm screwing here. I just added 1 to these, and I hope I'm paying attention. Jesus, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sounds like 6 for yellow. I think that's correct. Okay. Orange, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sounds good. So we're each going to get $8. We didn't increase our values here. So much mechanical crap. And we'll see. I really hate counting a lot. And I hate keeping track of stuff on a board like this, where there's little tiny incremental changes. Okay, so we'll see. We get the $8 each, and then we get the profits that were due off the board. And this is really kind of painful for red and blue, especially, who are way down on the profit chart still. It's not thrilled. They put a big bid in on the green train, I believe. No, the purple train for $20. And blue outbid them for 21. 20 is a big bid for purple. It's right now sitting at 6. I'm counting on getting 8, 9, 18 pretty easily. It'll probably make money still from there, but red wasn't willing to go any higher. It's hard to tell where things are going to go in the long run. Plus, I'm getting somebody else to throw money into my company and maybe make some investment in it. So I'll let them do that at $21. Nobody else was terribly interested in it. And he gets the purple. And purple is worth another $6, which shoots him way up to the leading areas there. And that was red's turn. Now we're back to green. Green wants to run blue and make money off him, but we got kind of shut down by that yellow getting a turn there. We didn't think that was very likely. However, we were actually ahead of yellow, so it wasn't that unlikely. We need to make blue work better. How do we do that? Well, right now we don't feel like we're anywhere near the lead, so we don't want to go running off and trying to connect with red, because that would get us to where all of these companies are connected with 2 other companies, and only the Prussian back there isn't. And it may be provable that it can't connect to anything by, number of trains that someone else can build, and if their stock doesn't sell for much. But as long as it's got stock available, it can't be proven. Still, see, if I shoot up to here, then yellow can grab the bonus on me, just like yellow can grab this bonus. That's not something I want to see happen. So I may not want to build blue track simply because of this. Red track, though, is low on money, and getting to there is perhaps possible. No, blue has the bonus, the 1 less for each. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have that kind of money. I don't think red's going to have the money to get to Würzburg before I can make my move. It's not what I want to do. It really isn't. But yellow does have the money to get to wherever I go. I don't want to give them the bonus. I want to give it to my own company. So even if it speeds up the game in a way that I don't like, what did we say? 2, 3, 4, 5. This, if anything, protects it even more. Well, they can get there. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, see, I've got other cities I could connect to, but I'm not sure that there's any great advantage to doing it right now. I probably want to do it if I have the cash as I connect to that. So that increased blue by 1, and that gives green 3 more bucks. Not necessarily something I particularly wanted to see happen, but you do what you can. Okay, now we're up to another blue turn. And blue really likes yellow. Blue would love to hook yellow up with their double money here. So I'm going to take that run. That's going to end up connecting me to brown, getting me an extra run. What else can I buy? I got towns down here that I can connect to with my track pretty easily. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 by my price. 4. Yellow's restriction, no. 5, 6, 7, 8 to here. I'll bring it to 13. I have 13 bucks exactly. Sounds good. I'm sure I didn't plan it that way. Now that opens it up to blue connecting up to me too, but that's okay. Now what did I add this time? I added 1, 2, 5 to my total. That brings me up to an 11. 5 added to white, and 10 added to blue. You can see blue's now in the lead on the income chart. Not that that's necessarily the best place, but I do get the double payout of 22 bucks for yellow. That's a nice big extra payout. In addition to what I'm getting on here. Now, of course, white is getting 11 bucks as well. And as we put our chits in the pool for what's going to be available, it is just becoming more and more obvious that red has lost this game so tremendously. There is nothing that they can do. They're just getting more chits in the pool by a little bit doesn't help you. And being this far behind and not having a lot of cash is terrible. What did they do wrong? Well, they didn't get invested. I think that's really the problem. They didn't have the kind of cash that yellow had when they stopped their investment, but everybody's kind of catching up with yellow here. They've got to start buying things. But the problem is you feel like you're making a purchase at a fair price. And for me, I'm probably grossly underestimating just how much one of these certificates is worth. They can go for a whole lot more than they have been. And that's, the edge mark here. Been, things that have been selling for 20, well, maybe they were worth 30 instead. And, it's just this is a problem with all of these games where you make your valuation based on what it's going to make over the course of its lifetime, basically. Early in the game, it's pretty easy to see some mechanical reasons in the game not to spend, more than half your money on one share or something like that. But at this point, it's really not very clear at all to me how to value the different certificates and how much these guys are important. And then, oops, I didn't get income, so now I'm not necessarily in the bidding for them anymore either. Although I think everybody's got enough cash they can buy anything that comes up if they want it. So that's not really a huge factor. It's just these guys aren't going to produce the kind of bonuses that we were seeing off those other ones because we're getting a more rational idea of what the value is. And that's really a matter of playing for the first time. when you play an 18xx game, even for the first time, you can pretty much assure yourself, if I buy a certificate, I will make money for it. So the question is now, which one is going to make me the most money? And that's fairly easy to discern. Here, though, I'm having a hard time, and I always do with these Winsome designs, where I have the option to buy stock on a bidding type situation where it's not a fixed price that's going to go up and down, etc. It's just, how much am I going to make off this over the course of the game? That's a very, very hard thing to try to evaluate. And it may be one of the things that kind of keeps me from enjoying these quite as much, as I feel like I'm kind of randomly bidding. Even when I'm playing opposed, I played a couple of them with my wife, I don't feel like I have a real certainty of how much something is worth. I can look at the game state in terms of the cash I have and whether I give the other player some kind of magical dominance like yellow had for a while, although it looks like they're frittering away the advantage they had, and be able to, judge how valuable that situation is. But trying to figure out what the lifetime value of one of these certificates is going to be, wow, that's just really rough on me.